Guys, in upcoming days, if market picks up again and if more number of industries starts shifting into India, then immediate requirement will be on the infrastructure for their industrial spaces. Having said that, we will have a very big issue on time constraints. The maximum time duration they can afford is between, say, 1 or 1.5 years. Within 1 or 1.5 years, you will have to set up an entire industrial infrastructure for their working. So the obvious option will be the pre-engineered buildings, and which can be executed in a very faster pace. So hence today we will be focusing our discussion on industrial buildings, exclusively on the pre-engineered technology. And starting with, we will be considering a case study. And this is the floor plan. There is a KIDB road. This is a industry happening somewhere in the Biddi industrial area, near Biddi. Okay. And from the KIDB road, you are taking access to the entry gate of the property. You will be having 2 ramps dedicated for entry and exit. And this will be the space in the ground floor where you will be having n number of activity inside for the purpose of industrial usage. And usually in the industrial buildings, guys, ground floor will be predominantly used for usage of machineries if they are supposed to use, and also for the purpose of warehousing and any office space kind of thing. They will be going for the mezzanine kind of level. See there, this being the section in this architectural plan, this being the section, this being the ground floor. The ground floor of all industries will be predominantly used for the usage of machineries, also for the purpose of warehousing, depending upon their requirement. Whereas the office spaces will be located in the mezzanine level, in the upper levels, because resting or supporting heavier loading in the suspended system. Here in the upper levels, you will not be having any soil underneath to substantially sustain or support this slab. If it would have been the case on the ground floor, where beneath the ground floor there will be a compacted earth, well compacted earth. Having said that, it will be much easier to support heavier loads with this supporting system. Hence, in most of the industries, the ground floors will be predominantly used for the usage of machineries or for the warehousing. Having said that, usage of machineries and warehousing, it will be with the very heavy loads, and it has to be transported inside, in both in and out, with the help of trucks, heavy trucks. Okay. And guys, you will be having an individual base for each and every trucks. This nomenclature called RS will be the abbreviation for rolling shutters. For this entire warehouse, this area will be termed as docking area, where there will be loading and unloading of the raw materials or finished items from the industry will happen. Both the raw materials that are coming into the industry will be unloaded here, and the finished goods from the industry will be again loaded back to the trucks. So this is how the arrangement will be, and this area will be termed as loading docks. Okay, and also you will be provisioning with the sufficient number of staircase and lift for the vertical circulation system. And this being the activity in the ground floor, as we discussed, the office spaces for the industrial usage will be in the upper levels, where it will be dedicated for the usage of office works. Okay, guys, here we had a challenge that there was a lake very next to this property. Very next to this property there was a existing lake, and hence we will have to be retaining this portion of earth, and also this level being 106 meter in the entrance, we are raising the insides to 111.5, that is almost say around 5.5 meter level is raised. The insides of this structure of this industry will be raised to a height of 5.5 meters, considering all the runoff issues and flood water collected during the entire year. They have considered to raise the insides to the level of 111.5 meter. Thereby you are raising the or filling the insides by 5.5 meters. Now that filling has to be retained. Okay, that soil has to be retained, and on the other side you are having a lake, existing lake. This being the issue, we were supposed to design the retaining walls for supporting the compound wall to a height up to 5.5 meters. Okay, guys, this is a very massive retaining wall. So far, usually in the basements you will be having the floor to floor height 3.6 meter, and that too there the situation will be such a way that there will be a slab of ground floor. In the residential buildings, if you are accessing the basement for the vehicular parking, means something like that, then there will be a slab connected or tied to this retaining wall. Thereby the behavior will be propped cantilever system. But this retaining walls being done in the periphery or in the property line edge, it will be done in the property line edge in the plot area, in the plot line. Then this retaining wall will be having no prop in the horizontal direction, and hence this is a pure cantilevered retaining wall spanning for a height of 5.5 meters. So this is a very massive retaining wall we have employed in this project. And also, in order to reduce the loading, see this side, having said that, this side being the natural lake, we can drain out the groundwater that can be percolated inside with the help of provisions like weep holes. We will be provisioning a weep hole system through which the water, the rainwater or any sort of water that can get percolated inside can be drained off into the outside lake. Guys, having said that, we can only provision such weep holes in this area or towards this side just because we are having a lake. This side there is a village or there is a property of somebody else own. I mean, it's the property of somebody else, and we cannot simply let in the water or drain in the water into his property. Okay, we cannot employ these retaining walls everywhere. Okay, saying if this is somebody else's property, he will not accept me draining the rainwater into his property. Okay, so we cannot have the provision of V poles everywhere. Only luck here we are having is there is a natural lake, and hence we are out or draining out the percolated water into the natural lake. Thereby the density of earth from saturated, it will be much lesser than the saturated density. Thereby you are reducing the loading on this retaining wall. So to take up some advantage to reduce the loading, we are provisioning the V poles with a lake positioned outside. If this is somebody else's property, we were not supposed to drain out the water into the, through the provision of V poles. Moving forward, if this is a situation in a basement, okay, if this is a situation in a basement, how will it be? Outside of the basement there will be the filled up or the natural soil. Inside you will be having car parks, driveways, some habitatual areas. If you provide in V poles in basements, you are encouraging a threat. You are inviting the groundwater inside your basement, which is totally not desirable. So whenever you are making use of such V poles, you will have to be very careful. If you make provision of V poles in basements, it is as good as you are inviting the danger, you are inviting the threat, you are inviting the outside water into your property, which is not at all desirable. And again, even if this is a property line retaining wall, and instead of lake you are having somebody else's property, you cannot provision the V poles and let in the water. Okay, this is one key issue I wanted to discuss with you guys. Moving forward, see, the contour is in such a way that the contour of this site is such a way that the existing ground level towards one end is 99.314 RL, whereas if you can notice, the existing ground level here, it is 102.6. One side the level is 102.6, and towards the opposite end it is 99.3. Almost it is like 3.3 meter level difference. On an average we are having 3.3 meter level difference in the topographical profile of this site. One end it is 3.3 meters lowered, another end it is 3.3 meters raised. So this is how the existing level of this property. Now the insides you are looking at is 101.5 meters. So thereby you are raising the insides very higher. Okay, and moving forward, if you can notice the footings of this project, you can notice that the sizing of footings, even though the loadings, the spans of columns are very almost same, the spans and loadings on each and every columns will be almost same, but as you go towards the depressed area of this property, you can notice there is an increase in footing area. Okay, This is a structural drawing, footing layout for these columns. These are all the columns, structural columns considered for supporting of this structure. And you can notice the footing area is very high compared to that of footing area in the other end, because there is a level difference of almost 3 meters from one end to another end. Okay, and because of this level difference, see, in structures like PEBs, where okay, this is the steel drawing of PEB, where the entire building will be made of structural steel, and all of these are position of columns, structural columns. In structures like PEB, it is not a gravity governed structure. If it is the case of RCC, the structure will be governed by the gravity. But since this is the steel structures, lightweight structures, here it is not a gravity governed structure. That means the vertical load will be lesser, or will be comparatively lesser with respect to RCC building than your horizontal loads. Having said that, the horizontal loads at the base of the column is created because of the wind loading on the structure. See, in the lightweight structures like steel structures, wind loading will be very important criteria, because there will be no much activity on the roof. Because having said that, it is a lightweight steel, it is not set for regular access. Only for the maintenance activity, people will be moving upon the structure. If you can notice, this is that section. You are having steel columns, and this is your sloped roof in the top. This is the sloped roof, lightweight roof. Here, this is a terrace. This is just a roof. This will not act as a floor. No access will be given for the regular usage. The access will be only for the maintenance activity. Okay. Hence, the live load on this roof will be very less. With all of these parameters, the load transfer on the base of each column will be lesser compared to that of RCC. In addition to the live loads, there is a very huge reduction in the self weight of the structure too. The self weight of the structure in RCC, it will be very massive, because the density of concrete is too high, and the volume of the concrete will also be too high in the RCC structures. But the steel structures, though the density is higher, the volume will be very less, and hence the self weight of this steel structure will be very less compared to that of RCC. And also, since this being the lightweight roofing, you will not be setting it to access, and no regular live load also will be there on such steel structures. Adding all together, the vertical load, the gravity load, will be very less in the steel structures. But since this is very light structure, it is prone to movement with the application of wind load, and hence you can notice there will be a movement in the lateral direction of this structure. To arrest that, there generates a horizontal reaction force. To arrest that lateral movement, there generates a horizontal reaction force. If this would have been case of regular RCC, the gravity of the structure itself will be so heavy, the wind loading will not at all be a concern. Then the vertical loading itself will be so high, there won't be any requirement of horizontal reaction generation at the base of this column. So we can expect a good amount of horizontal reaction in the steel structures to arrest the lateral movement with respect to your RCC structures. And hence, there will be generation of horizontal force in the steel column. This is the bottom of the steel column, whereas inside the soil, till it reaches the foundation, we will be providing RCC column, or we will also be terming it as a pedestals. See, supporting system for this will be regular RCC footing with RC columns or pedestal till ground floor level, and above ground floor level it will be all steel columns and steel beams, steel roofings, such things. Lightweight structure will happen above ground floor level, and below ground floor level it will be RCC. Okay. See, at ground floor level the steel column stops, and also steel column starts, and the RCC pedestal or column stops. In this junction, we can anticipate the reaction developing for the steel columns in the horizontal direction to resist the horizontal movement that can be anticipated due to wind loads. See, this horizontal reaction force, see, consider this as a wind load on the structure. And to counter this wind load, there will be a equal and opposite reaction developed by this, developed in the base of this column. This will be the horizontal reaction force that will be generated to counter the applied wind load. And this horizontal reaction multiplied by this dimension till the top of the footing, the product of this horizontal force with the top of the footing, we term it as a moment. It generates this horizontal moment, force, reaction force, generates a moment at the bottom of your RCC column. Okay, and this moment has to be bared by this footing. See, in some places this dimension is just 3 meters or 2.5 meters in this grid. As you go towards the grid A, the depth of founding level will be increasing, and from 3 meter it keep on increasing to 5.5 meters. There, in these locations, the moment developed in this junction is horizontal force into 5.5. At the same time, in this grid, the moment developed is horizontal force into 2.5. So this is the reason why even after the same grids, the same center to center spacing of the columns, even after maintaining the same grids of the columns and same application of load, we can notice increase in the footing dimensions. The reason behind that is increase in the length of this lever arm. Okay, this is one of the question raised by the site team when I was handling this project, and hence to give you a fair idea, see, usually though people at the site level will be technical persons, will be civil engineering graduates, but necessarily not structural engineers, structural designers. And this is how these designs will be done by the structural engineers. And this is what the fundamental structural information they need to have at the site level, and if at all there is a abnormal dimensioning. See, sometimes what happens, if due to drafting error, chances of I mean, instead of in the grid A, the draftman may execute the drafting of this foundation dimension here in the grid A and the heavier foundation dimensions in the grid F. Chances of drafting errors may happen. So in such scenarios, you should be in the position to identify if the lever arm is increased. Obviously, the footing dimension should also increase. So this is some inputs for the persons at the site level who need to have when looking at the foundation drawing of the industrial buildings. And this inference you cannot make in the regular residential or commercial buildings, where it will be mostly RCC. There, this horizontal force will not be a criteria, because in the RCC structures, the major criteria will be your vertical force. Because in the RCC structures, the gravity load is a very big criteria. This will be the gravity load. This will be the governing load in the RCC structures, and the reaction will be opposite to it. But in the steel structures, the governing load will be your wind, because it will be a lightweight steel structures. In the industrial structures, the governing load will be a wind from the horizontal direction. Equal and opposite resistant forces will be generated, and that reaction force will be multiplied with a lever arm to dimension the footings. This inference can be only made in the lightweight steel structures like in industrial buildings. Okay. And moving forward, we will be looking at the ground floor drawing. See, having said, in industrial buildings, the usage of ground floors will be mostly for the heavier machineries or for the warehousing, for loading, for the stocking of the materials. Okay. And for catering to such a heavier load, you will have to be preparing the ground floor with higher strength. Okay. And usually these floors will be termed as industrial floors itself by default. And you can notice this will be a RCC floor. Usually in our residences or in any residential buildings, there need not be a RCC floor for the ground floor, where if there is no provision of basement, if your ground floor is directly rested on the earth, there is no necessary for the RCC flooring to be rested on even on the earth. But this being the industrial floor, even after there is a well compacted earth with Proctor density test result achieving 95%, you will be providing a layer of 230 to 250 mm WBM, waterborne macadams, or GSB layers for the cushioning, sand cushion, for the increasing the strength. You will be providing a layer of 230 or 250 mm, 230 mm thick this will be waterborne macadam or a GSB layer furnished above your well compacted earth, and after that you will be laying, say, sometimes if you do not want to have a threat of water issues, you will be laying an addition of HDPE sheets, okay, high density polystyrene sheets, that will check the percolation of groundwater. We can refer to this drawing for the detail of that. Okay, see, even after doing a well compacted earth filling, you will be providing and laying granular base of 200, 230 or 250 depending upon the capacity you require, capacity of the machineries. See, these industrial ground floors will be designed and constructed for various capacities like 6 metric tons, 2 metric tons, 4 metric tons, that being the point load under the machinery. See, if you consider a machinery, it will be have a 4 legs, like a bushes, it will be having 4 legs, and below that contact surface of that leg with the ground floor, if there is a leg here, if this is a machinery, it is having 4 legs, 2 on this side, 2 on the opposite sides. The contact surface will be only so much. Below this thickness should be capable of resisting that particular load. Possibility of this particular load may be varying from 2 metric ton minimum, and highest may be 12, 14 metric tons too. And accordingly, the thickness of this ground floor slab and the reinforcement, also the granular subbase will be varying. And also there will be a provision for HDPE sheets. This will be a waterproofing sheets. This will check or arrest the any groundwater. If at all there is a crack in this RCC or the RC floor, these sheets, HDPE sheets, will not allow the water to percolate inside the granular subbase, and this will be of thickness 600 micron. 600 micron gauge polythene paper or polythene sheet will be placed above this granular subbase, and after that you will be laying the RCC flooring. Guys, also in the junctions of the steel columns, okay, you cannot continue the RCC in one single shot, and we will be looking at the sequencing of that. See, this being the entire RCC floor that we need to cast, this will be done in such a way that you will be casting it in base. Straight RCC of this particular panel will be done first. Sorry. This particular panel will be done first. Next, RCC of this particular panel will be done first. This will be done in panels. They do not concrete this entire area massively. They will be doing it in panels. To begin with, they will start with this particular panel, and next they will be doing the RCC of this particular panel. Likewise, they will be keep on executing the concreting, and all of these junctions are termed as construction joints, and this will be again saw cut with the help of machinery. It will be saw cut to arrest any development of any further cracks. Okay, and That is how the concreting of this particular floor will be done. Unlike the regular RCC slabs, here it will be done in the panels, with each panel having the construction joint on either sides. After execution, it will be cut with the help of machinery saws. And the similar kind of concreting is done to the roads, RCC roads. If you can notice, this is how they will be executing the concreting of RCC roads. Okay, a similar fashion concreting will be done in the insides of such industrial buildings. Okay, and these are all termed as dockers, where your truck will come and stand. See, this is how it will be. If you can notice in section 2, this is the docker level. The difference in height will be 700 mm, because once your truck stands in the backward direction here, from the tire bottom, from the finished ground level, from the tire bottom, the maximum clearance that is required for the trolley to open its back door and for the unloading of the material to happen, the maximum clearance required is 700 mm. Okay, and hence the minimum of 700 mm is maintained here. These materials from the truck, it will be taken in by lifting up this rolling shutter. Here there will be a rolling shutter. On opening it, you can access to this truck that will be standing here. You will be unloading the raw materials into this industry, and the finished products will be again loaded here in the same area. And hence this very bay made use for the loading and unloading will be termed as dock leveler pit. Okay, docking pit. Okay, this is one of the terminology they make use in the industrial buildings, where you will be provisioned with such pits, such bays for your trucks to load and unload your materials. This is the fashion how the trucks will stand near the docker units, and having stood there, this is how the clearance is provided from the bottom of the tire till the trolley body. Okay, and this is how we will be doing with the ground flooring activity. Having said that, you can notice there are n number of partitioned walls provided here. For creating the base, there are n number of partitioned walls. Guys, execution of block work with regular blocks, cement mortars, then after that we'll be plastering it, curing. See, execution of such block works will be a very big issue in the industrial building. First and foremost is the many labors, and it is a time consuming, and hence in industrial buildings we are opting a technology called drywall technology. Okay, these are all drywalls, and you can notice, see, this is how they will be laying some channels, and to that channels they will be cladding the drywall materials, drywall panels. Okay, to these channels they will be cladding the panels of the drywalls, and they will complete one wall, and this require no mortar. This is, whenever you do it, the system with the regular block work, cement blocks or mud blocks along with the mortar, it is a wet system, wet connection system. Here it is all dry connections. You will be providing some aluminum or MS channels. To that channels you will be cladding these drywall panels to complete this wall. And you can notice these drywalls are employed both for the exterior and also it will be employed for the interior walls. It's optional. And why do we employ this? Because to achieve the speed in construction. And as per the statistics, the labor requirement for the execution of such drywalls is 50% lesser compared to the construction of regular block works, and the thickness of these drywalls will be very less. It will be maximum of 75 mm. So additional space will be available with the usage of such drywalls, and the costing also, it will be 10% lesser than the regular blockwork walls. Okay, and it will, like any other regular blockwork, you will be applying putty and you will be doing the paint. The finish will be same. Okay, but what you will be doing here is you will be just applying these channels, and upon these channels you will be inserting your panels and you will be filling these joints with the help of putty powder or some filling material, and you will be painting this. This is how it is, as simple as raising the wall, and you need not require much labor. The costing wise also it is 10% lesser, and it is, you can execute it at very faster rate. Okay, this drywall execution can be done at very faster rate of say almost 4 times faster than your regular blockwork construction. Having said that, we are opting this pre-engineered buildings or steel construction, steel material construction, to achieve the speedy construction. And if you employ regular blockwork execution insides, then it will be of no use. Okay, and hence even the interiors will be done with the help of drywall methodologies. All of these partitioned walls and sometimes the external walls also will be executed with the help of drywalls. These drywalls will also be having fire rating equivalent to your regular blockworks. So these are all the advantages of the usage of drywall system. Okay, and this is some of the idea that I wanted to discuss with you all with respect to the industrial buildings, where unlike the regular residential buildings or regular commercial or office buildings, the major usage of the ground floor of the industrial building will be for the machinery usages or for the warehousing. And hence, unlike in the regular residential or public buildings, the ground floor, even after it is being rested on the mother earth, it will be of RCC with sufficient additives, like there will be a GSB layer, and also, wait, I'll be again looking at that. This is how the ground floor of your industry will be, because this will be employed for heavier machinery loadings, also as well as for the stocking of your warehouse activity. And hence, unlike your any other building, industrial building will be different with respect to your ground floor, as well as since it is the lightweight structure, PEB structure, you can notice or you can have this change in the footing layout. Just because there is a difference in the contour levels, you can notice the change in this footing level. And also the internal blockworks or walls internal and external both, can be executed with the help of drywall system. And this is the typical supporting how the drywall system will be done. These are the vertical channels used for the cladding of drywalls. This will be directly connected to the grade slab, ground floor slab. Okay, that steel channel will be directly connected to the ground floor slab in the regular intervals, and also there will be a horizontal members. To this panel you have created, you will be cladding your drywall panels. This is how the drywalls will be executed, and this will be executed at very faster rate with very less labor requirement, and also 10% cheaper than your regular block work executions. Okay, these are all some basic difference I wanted to discuss with you in industrial buildings. This is the industrial building plan of a different project, where you can notice n number of machineries placed, and very uniquely this particular project is for a industry, automobile industry, which will furnish the seat belts, steerings, airbags, such accessories to the leading companies like Hyundai, Benz, such leading automobile companies. And for the purpose of testing, so industrial buildings will also be having the provision for testing. They will be doing a test called sled test, where they will be running the track, a train track upon which man-made skeleton will be placed, and with that, placed on a seat with a seat belt. They will be doing a crash test here. This trolley will be hitting this instrument at a very high speed, and after this impact of crash, they will be checking the effectiveness of this seat belt. For executing or conducting such tests, they require some arrangement to be made inside, and we being civil engineers, we will have to be provisioning all of such facilities inside our infrastructure. And for doing that, this is the ground floor drawing. We have created a track, we have created a sled here. Okay, this will be the trench or sled created for the running of those tracks, and this will be the impact junction. This is a massive concrete to which that trolley will come and impact, and we will have to be taking care of all of these loadings while designing, and such a way it has to be executed at site level also. So these are all the differences you can notice in an industrial building when compared to that of regular residence, shopping malls, or your office spaces, corporate office spaces. This is how an industrial building will be built differently. And with all of these additional requirements required in an industrial building, you require to complete such large infrastructure in a speedy way, and hence you will be opting for pre-engineered building technology, where you will be executing things in a faster way. Within say 1.5 years, you can completely finish the entire structure and hand over the building to your client. Whereas if the same activity would have been done with the help of conventional RCC, instead of 1.5 years, the time span would have been 2 to 3 years, minimum double. With more number of labor deployed, you could have achieved still within not lesser than 3 years. Okay, so this is the advantage of pre-engineering building techniques in the building of industrial buildings. Okay, and this is some basic idea I wanted to give you all with respect to industrial buildings. And moving further, I basically structural engineer, structural designer. So in continuation to this workshop, we will also be planning for the course activity where we will be looking at the designing, the complete designing of a structure right from foundation to terrace. First, we will be analyzing the structure by modeling the same with the help of ETABS, SAFE and STAT, whichever software it is required at that particular time of moment. Then we will be doing the required stability checks. We will also be designing each and every element with the help of ETABS, SAFE, and also we will be approaching the manual techniques. See, for that instance, how we will be doing is, see, we will be helping you guys to create drawings to this expert level. You will be able to design the complete foundation system for this complete project. You will be able to design all of these columns, and you will be able to design the entire beams and slabs of in this project with the help of the software tool which we will be employing here is ETABS. With the help of ETABS, we will be first modeling in ETABS, then we will be analyzing the same in ETABS, and we will be designing all of these structural elements for this complete project, right from foundation till the floors, floor beams, floor slabs, etc. And this is one of the course we have modulated. Continuing further, we have also planned for the drafting of the same using AutoCAD. You will be, after the completion of this course, you will be able to produce the drawings to this expertise level with the help of AutoCAD software. So each course will be for 30 hours, and for this project, for this particular project, we will be completely modeling this project with the help of ETABS, and we will be analyzing the model. We will be designing the footings, we will be designing the columns as well as floor beams and slabs. And after complete design activity, the next course we will be doing is structural drafting, where you will be able to draft in the footing layout, column layout, and BMLS, as well as slab detailings, and also staircase detailing. Guys, just because you know to draw in AutoCAD, people will not entertain you into the industry. If at all you have to be entertained into the industry, you will have to be skilled. You will have to be doing BMLS detailing or slab detailing, or you will have to be doing footing layouts, column layouts. This is how the skills they will be asking you. in the industries, and you can able to draw and design the building, the entire structure, after the completion of these two courses. And each courses will be moduled for 30 hours. We may plan in for 2 hours a day, and every alternate day we will be discussing on design, and every other alternate day we will be discussing on drafting. We will be having practicing in the live classes. We will be discussing and practicing on this particular project in the live sessions itself. Okay, altogether within 30 hours, 30 plus 30, 60 hours, you will be able to analyze that complete residential building, as well as you will be able to draft each and every structural element in that residential building. So this is what the outcome we are expecting after the completion of these two courses. And interested students can join in, and the brochure, the details of the courses will be WhatsApped or emailed to each and every one of you. It will be paid for a minimum price, and maybe with both together we are planning for say around 4,000 rupees, and each course, if you are opting, it will be 2.5 each. Separately, if you are opting, it will be 2,500 each. If you are opting both together, it will be 4,000. Okay. This is how we have planned it. It's a very nominal pricing we have kept, and for the same extent, it will be very costlier outside. So this is how we have planned to continue the upcoming activities after concluding this workshop. There are still 2 more sessions in this workshop, okay, in this free workshop. Tomorrow there will be a session on pile foundation for the batch 2. Batch 1 with JC College Mysuru, pile foundation is already completed. If interested, you can still join in. Tomorrow at 5 o'clock for batch 2, there will be discussion on pile foundation. It will be free again. And Monday, the last session will be headed by our senior colleague of mine with 30 plus years experience in our field. He will be discussing on project management techniques. Okay, that will be a last session of this workshop, this free workshop conducted. For that will be on the project management techniques. And after completion of this workshop, we will be starting this design and drafting course from June 1st onwards. Very first week of the June, we will be starting on this, and this will be this time for paid, and as mentioned, 2,500 each. Together it will be for 4,000. Okay. Apart from this, regarding today's discussion, if there are any doubts for you guys, you are welcome. We are opening the interaction session.
Sir, in case of slope ground, do we place the footings at different levels or at the same RLs?
See, that is, we will be considering. See, 45-degree slope should be maintained between the bottom of the adjacent footings. If you are placing the footings in a sloped topographic profile, between each adjacent footings, there must be a 45-degree slope maintained, just like this. If this is 2 adjacent footings placed one next to other, but the profile is slope. This is the scenario. The slope should be 45 degrees, 1-in-1 slope. Only if this inclination is maintained, you can still proceed with such slope footings. Otherwise, if this is very near, if this footing is very near, then it is not desirable to place it on the slope footing. You will have to be bringing down. If it is very near and still you cannot achieve this 45-degree slope, you will have to be bringing down this founding level exactly the same as the other. Okay, this is how we practice in the regular day-to-day construction activity. Okay, is your
Okay, sir.
okay.
Yes, yes, sir. Clear. Thank you.
Any more doubts, guys? See, these drywalls, there is a question from one of you that what will be the material of this drywall? There will be a specification given. I'll show you that drywall specification. It's a composite material, and I'll be texting you that specification from the vendor, because since we are not doing that, the chemical, and it is not made up of one single material, it's a composite material. I'll be sharing the specification of that material. Okay, I don't have here now. I'll be, what about durability in drywall system as compared to normal system? Yes, the drywall system is as durable as the regular blockwork wall. Okay, and you cannot witness any cracks or the dampness that can be witnessed. That will not be there. It will be as good as your regular blockwork wall, drywalls. And for this, the material it is made up of, I'll be sharing you the technical specification that is being submitted by the vendors, and you can have a look at it. Okay. Any more doubts, guys?
Sir, you said that steel column is placed above pedestal.
Correct.
So is this pedestal also designed for the moment due to this lever arm?
Yes, yes, yes. See, here the thing is, unlike the regular framed buildings, where you will be having the tie level beams. Okay, in the regular construction at ground floor level, you will be having the plinth beams tying the columns. But here, these columns will be not tied. Only the columns at periphery will be having the plinth beams. No internal columns will be having any ties at ground floor level. So the system, the supporting system of this column will be purely cantilever. Along with this, it will be experiencing the horizontal force at the edge of the cantilever span. This is still lot more critical, lot more complex loading and supporting system. And the moment generated at this junction due to this load will be calculated, and this column will be sized and reinforcement will be designed based on that critical moment. Okay, unlike the regular system, the moment will be here is fixed end moments, because even here there will be a tie with the help of plinth beam. But in these industrial buildings, these pedestals will be not tied at the top level. It will be a purely cantilevered columns with point loads as axial loads acted on the edge of this cantilever span. The moment generated will be much higher due to this cantilever system. The moment generated will be much more higher, and these columns will be designed with reinforcement and sized with concrete to address that moments. Okay. Hope
Okay, okay, sir. Yes, yes, got it, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Any more question, guys? Okay. There are no more questions. We are concluding this today's session today. Tomorrow at 5 o'clock again, we will be discussing on pile foundations for batch 2. That is a different batch, except JC College Mysore students. We will be having a different batch, and for those students, tomorrow the discussion will be on pile foundations at 5 o'clock, and Monday will be the final session headed by Mr. Satish, senior colleague of mine. He will be discussing on project management techniques. Okay. Thank you all.